Hello everyone, TimeToGrind here, and today I wanted to talk about Exit the Gungeon. And Exit the Gungeon is a spin-off of Enter the Gungeon, which was a roguelike game that came out semi-recently that I absolutely adored. It had amazing gameplay, amazing gunplay, and an amazing theme. Everything in that game was themed around bullets or guns in some sort, and it was amazing. And on top of that, the kind of amazing part of that game was there were hundreds of different guns that were just completely absurd and weird and hilarious. I mean, you had guns that shot beehives, you had guns that shot bubbles, you had normal looking guns, you had RPGs, you had guns that shot guns that then shot bullets. I mean, it was just hilarious, and half of the fun in that game was just experiencing all of the different hilarious and quirky guns that that game had to offer. And so Exit the Gungeon is a spin-off game that originally came out on the Apple Arcade, which was just, exclusives for Apple products, and apparently it got a huge update along with launching on PC and the Nintendo Switch. So I thought it was going to be a great time to pick it up, try it, and let you guys know what I thought about it. And overall, it is a roguelike game just like Enter the Gungeon, and it kind of takes the gameplay of Enter the Gungeon and puts it in like a 2D action bullet hell. So you start out in an elevator with a bunch of different platforms on it, and just it keeps spawning enemies on you. And so once you kill enough of them, you get put into a new area or a new room, but overall it's all going to be these 2D kind of, most of the time, super claustrophobic screens that you have to jump from platform to platform on and kill all the enemies and dodge what they're shooting at you. Now, the key gimmick of this game, though, is you are being blessed, or in some cases cursed, by someone that is completely changing your weapon every about 10 to 15 seconds. So every 10 to 15 seconds, whatever gun you were using, it just automatically switches to a completely random weapon. And in this game, there are a bunch of hilarious weapons, and just like I talked about, one of the amazing parts of Enter the Gungeon was all of the different weapons and guns. So honestly, it's a kind of cool gimmick to just constantly keep switching between all of these hilarious and amazing guns. And on top of that, you have a combo meter that gets higher depending on a bunch of different things. It also gets higher, like say you pick up health when you're already at full health, it gets higher then, or just if you're doing better, the combo meter will go up. And the higher your combo meter goes up, apparently it increases your chances of getting better weapons. And on top of that, in the original Enter the Gungeon, you could roll, and rolling would prevent you from taking damage. It'd make you invincible to all the projectiles that were being spammed at you. Now, in this game, though, because it is like a 2D platformer, every time you not only roll left or right, but jump or, drop down a platform, that all counts as rolling. And so you're going to be constantly having to jump around and roll to prevent taking damage, because like I said, you're in these extremely claustrophobic screens with only a couple platforms in most of them. And so in order to get to a different side of the screen, or to get a better vantage point to shoot an enemy, or just to escape one enemy, you're going to have to be dodging through things constantly. So that is a huge part about this game. On top of that, just like Enter the Gungeon, you have the single-use blanks that if you use, it just completely deletes all projectiles on the screen, but you have to kind of save them and use them wisely because they're rare and you don't have very many blanks. And overall, going back to the kind of weapon changing mechanics, I do really like it because it's fun to just constantly, completely, switch up your playstyle and just get to experience all of the different guns that the game has to offer. The only problem is, though, is it can sometimes screw you over really, really bad. So, obviously it can do good for you. It can give you a good weapon, and then you can, wipe the floor with, an amazing weapon. I think one of the good starting ones that I really liked is like this skull gun. So it shoots these skulls, and then those skulls like break into parts, and those count as projectiles, and you keep hitting everyone. It's a really good weapon. So it feels good when you get that and you clear the whole room. But then there are also times, because it's random, where you could be fighting a boss, and in the middle of the boss fight, when it's super intense, when you have 1 health left, it could switch your weapon to a terrible weapon that takes forever to charge. And the thing is with all the dodging and rolling and jumping, every time you do any of that, it completely resets like your charging if you're charging a gun. So sometimes it feels like if you get given a bad gun, you kind of just have to keep dodging and waiting, and you can try to get a little bit of damage in, but for the most part, you're just waiting for guns to change. So The reason I think overall that this mechanic is good, because I have seen a lot of people complaining about that, about how bad it feels to get bad weapons, you know, and get screwed over like that, is overall I already think that this is a way more casual game than Enter the Gungeon. I think people are most likely going to play it for 15-30 minutes at a time, you know, maybe in between games, just get a little bit of action. I mean, it was a mobile game at first, so I mean, it kind of tells you the type of gameplay it is. You know, it's not this game you're sitting for 4 hours at a time. So the fact that it's a lot more casual, it's kind of a little bit more forgiving, that if you get screwed over, it's not like you just lost 45 minutes of gameplay, except I'm sure if you get far enough, you know, that could happen. But overall, I think if you're taking this game kind of casually, it's not going to be, you know, super bad. And so as you go to new areas, you find items that increase your health, or, you know, give you more bullets or better reload speed, or there's unique items. Like, I think one of the items I unlocked and then got was this beehive, that every time I took damage, a bunch of bees would come out of me and they would attack the enemies that attacked me, and that was really cool. And so it's kind of like Enter the Gungeon. I'm sure a lot of the items are the same. I just haven't played it in a little bit, but it has kind of, you know, a similar feel to that. There's probably a bunch of new items and a lot of returning ones. And on top of that, there's shops every couple of areas that you can spend your money on either new, you know, refilling your health or items or blanks, anything like that. And so you constantly have a way to do that. And so, like I said, this is a roguelike game. So if you die, you know, you restart from the beginning. You know, you don't save your progress, except there are roguelike mechanics, obviously. And one of the ways is a shop in almost the exact same way that Enter the Gungeon's there. So you have this, you know, kind of person and her robot, and they sell you new items and weapons that you can then find in the game. So one of the first things I got was like this RPG, so I can now find an RPG in my games, or just new kind of health items and stuff like that. And so the more you buy, the cooler items, I think, you know, obviously, because just like 2 of the first 6 items I could buy were just health kit items. So I just found more ways to increase my health in the game. So that's one way. And on top of that is every now and then in the shop, there will be this rat that sells you a key, and if you keep the key until you find a prisoner, you unlock them. And I think it said there was like 18 prisoners to unlock, and they constantly are unlocking new game mechanics or just, you know, things. So the first ones I unlocked were the, you know, person and her robot, so that allowed me to get new weapons. Then I unlocked this old man that I honestly at this point still don't know what he's doing. I know I have to find him, so I'm assuming, you know, he's a rare chance to find him, but if I find him, you know, he'll give me an awesome reward. But, you know, you'll just keep unlocking new people slowly by that, and it'll keep, you know, giving you new mechanics and stuff like that. And so it's a pretty awesome incentive to keep pushing forward and keep doing new things. And on top of that, you have the 4 characters like you did in the first one, and they all start off with a different item, so they're all kind of unique, just like in the first game, except also in this is the entire game kind of focused on each person's character. So you talk to this guy, and he says that every kind of elevator shaft, you know, it's kind of randomly generated, like in terms of what enemies you are and, you know, in what order you fight them. But overall, they kind of follow a same structure. But each character has a different structure. They all start out, when you go on the elevator, you all start out on the same elevator. But after that, depending on what character you're playing, they all have kind of different paths. And I think that's pretty cool because, you know, if you beat the game with one character, you can then go into the other one, and there's kind of more of an incentive to play the different characters. And I think that is really, really cool. And so overall, there's not that much else to talk about. It's kind of just a more casual spin-off of Enter the Gungeon. And if you enjoyed Enter the Gungeon, if you enjoyed the quirkiness and the abundance of hilarious weapons and the gameplay in that, I think you'll find some enjoyment in Exit the Gungeon. It definitely is not Enter the Gungeon 2, so don't go into it expecting another Enter the Gungeon. It is definitely a smaller, more casual, you know, kind of just little bite-sized, more content for Enter the Gungeon. And it's kind of interesting to see it in 2D versus, you know, kind of a back camera and, you know, normal roguelike like Binding of Isaac. It's kind of interesting to see how those mechanics play out in a 2D platformer. And overall, I could totally see this being a game, you know, people pick up for 15 minutes at a time, just get a little bit of Enter the Gungeon in them, or Exit the Gungeon in this case. But I think overall it's pretty enjoyable. I do think it would be really good on phones, which, if anything, this is making me more interested in the app of it, except I don't have an iPhone, I have an Android, so You know, that's that, but I might suggest if this looks something that is fun for you and you have an iPhone, I might recommend looking on there and seeing, you know, if your phone can run it if you don't have a super older iPhone. I might recommend picking it up on that instead of the PC because this could also be a really fun game that you just play 5-10 minutes at a time, and that's great for mobile games. So overall, this game is really fun as long as you don't go into it expecting Enter the Gungeon 2. I think you're going to have a really good time. It's only $10, so even cheaper than the original, unless you bought it on sale, obviously. But I would definitely recommend it. It is a lot of fun. But overall, guys, if you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more content. There's about 2 gaming reviews that come out per week on this channel, so stay tuned for those. If you have played Exit the Gungeon or just, you know, Enter the Gungeon and you have thoughts about Exit the Gungeon, let me know in the comments down below. I love talking with all you guys. And if you guys are having a great day today, I hope you continue having a great day. If you guys aren't having a great day, I hope you guys start having a great day. But either way, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. See you guys next time.